This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 788 for the week of Monday, September 25th, 2023. My name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
And my name is Alex.
And joining us this week, first, we have our very special guest, the translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump. That is Stephen Paul. Stephen Paul, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here. It's a very nice day here today, which means it's also a very nice day for the air show. Which is, it's late enough in the afternoon. We probably won't have to deal with it, but I don't know. Maybe I'll leave one in, like, unmuted just for you guys. Just liven things up a bit.
Oh, the air show. Hope Sideshow Bob doesn't take it over.
That sounds awful, living in San Diego, Stephen.
I know.
I can't imagine it.
It's a trial, yeah.
We'll know if it's still going if we pick up on the strains of Rock You Like a Hurricane during recording. So
Yeah.
We hear the beautiful blue angels above.
And also joining us this week, friend of the show, Mike Patten is here.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Welcome. And
No air show here, but we do have the balloon festival a lot. The hot air balloon, the quick check one.
That sounds a lot more fun, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love Quick Check.
me too.
Hell yeah.
But Mike, you were sorry, go ahead, Steve.
I was gonna say the boys are back in town this week. I mean, so Zach, but
Yeah. But Mike, you were telling us before we started recording that you were doing the art for a new One Piece podcast that's coming out, and it's for anyone who listens to this show can tolerate our level of Simpsons references. You might want to listen to the show that you've been doing the artwork for it, right? It's called Domance Dawn.
Yeah, I've been doing the cover art for Domance. They're on, I believe, episode 39 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been going for a little bit. I took over maybe like 20 episodes ago, and they're watching One Piece, and they are pretty much deciding which character would be which Simpsons character, and I'm making covers for them. It's been a ton of fun.
So if you love that part of our show and don't find it annoying, check that out.
This week we're gonna find out who Frankie is. So
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
No,
All right.
no spoilers yet.
Ooh. I hope it's Armin Temzarian.
Me too. Me too.
And Alex, you have been away for a couple of weeks. You've been on a honeymoon. You've been in Italy, and I understand you saw some One Piece stuff in Italy as well.
Yeah, One Piece is huge in Italy. It was kind of easy to spot it. It's at every bookstore. Every bookstore has a manga section, but one bookstore in particular in Milan, in the comic book section, there were 3 statues. There was a Spider-Man statue, a Captain America statue, and a Luffy statue. So that just shows you where in the pantheon of comics One Piece sort of stands over there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I brought back some volumes, that's it really. I did watch Dragon Ball Super when I was over there in Italian, which was kind of funny. They air it like twice a night.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Dragon Ball.
They love that Dragon Ball as well.
That's a spicy Dragon Ball.
That is a spicy Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball. All right.
Spice that Dragon Ball. Don't stop till you got 'em all. Anyone old?
Yes.
Anyone old here?
But and Steve, we have the One Piece live action podcast that you've been doing with Vero coming out. What's coming up on the live action pod?
We're off this week. I know. Oh God, Zach is the man to ask here because he's scheduling some stuff. I don't know if we even have this announced yet, but I do know
We do have interviews lined up, so
we do.
can say that.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, you've watched the entire live action now, right?
I have. Yes, I have.
Do you have anything you want to share now that you're back on the show?
Yeah. Overall, I like it. I think it's good. I'm glad it's getting a second season because hopefully that means a bigger budget.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it could have benefited from a bigger budget and better writing.
Wow.
But overall, I think it's and better cinematography. But I think the cast is great. I love the cast. Everybody's great. I think the fight choreography was really fun. I think that a lot of the changes that were made were beneficial. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll come back on another time to share my full unadulterated thoughts as to what could have been better. And but overall, I think my favorite character is Sanji, and I thought Buggy is my favorite part of the entire thing.
Nice.
You know what I was like really pleasantly surprised with was how much my mom loved it.
Yeah, everybody's mom seems to be really liking it.
It was cool to be able to watch it with my mom and have her go like, "Oh, I get why you like this so much." It's cool.
Well, I mean, based on how much everyone's watching it on Netflix, it seems to be doing very well. So
yeah, I mean,
Everyone's
I have a lot of my friends who don't really watch anime are really digging it too, which is really cool to hear.
Yeah, it's had a lot of staying power. I keep seeing like, here's the weekly, numbers back from streaming and whatnot, and One Piece is still, if it's not number one, it's like in the top 3 or something like that. So, yeah, that might have something to do with not much else coming out, in the time since, but it's a major accomplishment for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes they like to show the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
right. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, when I said better writing, I mostly mean less cussing.
Yeah.
A lot of weird. It's like reading a scanslation sometimes.
Yeah. Fortunately, I mean, it wasn't all like trailer speaking quips. There wasn't too much of it. I mean,
That's what people were afraid of at first. I feel like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a stretch.
I mean, Lucky Root does say "if I'm lucky," although it works. I like it.
No, I like that too. It's just I don't know. Zoro, a bit of a potty mouth, and I think it could have used a little more blood in a couple scenes, which is really weird considering they really go hard on the blood sometimes.
I think in the first episode, it kind of bothered me that he cut a guy in half and just put him in a bag, and the bag is not soaked and full of blood.
Yeah, like
He left him out overnight.
Yeah. Random.
I mean, it bled a lot more than when Zoro got cut by Mihawk, but
Yeah, well.
I'm sure Stephen Vera will talk all about that.
Yeah. All right, shall we move on? Let's get on this episode, we're having a manga recap for chapter 1093, Luffy versus Kizaru, and a triple anime recap with Sam for episodes 1075, 76, and 77, and some piece together. So, shall we begin?
Let's go.
We shall.
All right.
Mortal Kombat.
Test your might. This is the manga recap for chapter 1093, Luffy versus Kizaru. But first, we have an author comment from Oda this week. He said, "My first Dreams Come True live performance in 4 years was powerful, as expected, and gave me a lot of energy. What a show." Now, Dreams Come True is a city pop group from the 80s, so this is Oda going to see the bands that he was into in high school. Still touring, and I saw a live video of theirs actually on YouTube. They filled up a whole baseball stadium, so they're still selling out. Even in like 2019 was the one that I saw. But
the main reason why I said this was an interesting tidbit because they did the theme for One Piece Movie 9.
Yep, and One Piece Movie 9 is I think available for free now, subtitled on Toei Animation's website. I think it was in celebration of the season 2 getting announced, the live action. So,
gotta get people on that chopper train.
Yep. But
Yes, that was the source of that famous chopper screen grab that everyone loves so much.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so funny, because Twitter is so bad now, where there's just a lot of meme posts from blue check accounts.
Mm-hmm.
But like the thing is, like here's how Chopper was drawn, in this year, and it's like in the drum arc, and I'm like, that's from the movie that came out in 2009. Am I the only one who watches the anime? But I'm just like no one's gonna appreciate that much of knowledge. That's just I just gotta carry on living knowing the truth. Anyway, the manga.
yeah. So on the cover this week, we had a reader request for Tarsier Brothers Sealing Kobe and Helmeppo's Eyewear by Black Beans, and the monkeys are the little Tarsiers. They're very cute, wearing the glasses, and Kobe is glowing. Just look at him; he's very moe right now. Look at him.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Helmeppo is annoyed. So the general usual state of things.
Yeah, because he normally uses those cool sunglasses to cover up his very dumb-looking eyes.
Yeah, I like that. That their eyes are so big that even the one with the Geordie visor, like you can see the eyeballs around it, which is funny. Yeah.
He does have a Geordie visor.
Yeah. It's cute.
All right.
It's like a religious Geordie visor. It's got like a cross on it.
Yeah.
Shows everybody that he's down with God.
Helmeppo needed God, so yeah, let's move on.
All right. So as we
Geordie LaChrist.
Okay. So picking up from where we left off last chapter, giant Luffy has snatched Kizaru and he's just laughing. And Usopp is on the ground with everybody and says, "Luffy!" And Kizaru, nonplussed, he's not taking this terribly seriously yet. He says, "Well, this is no good. No, let's not get carried away." as he's spun around in a circle by goofy giant Luffy. He does a what's that? Is like the multiple vision, multiple faces technique from Dragon Ball. As he's being spun around so fast.
The multiform, or
yeah, the ones from the fake clones, just because he's moving.
Manny faces from Masters of the Universe.
But he gets flung away, and he's like, and Luffy's just laughing. Look at him fly! Hurry, let's run for it now. Luffy's holding off Kizaru, and Chopper asks, "Where are you going, Atlas?" And she is going down below to take control of the pacifistas again. Otherwise, you will be zapped by their lasers as soon as the barrier's down. That's the best idea, because for the moment, there's no higher authority here than Vegapunk. Whoever controls the pacifistas wins.
And then Vegapunk says, "Wait, Atlas, I'll go with you." Huh? What makes you think you're allowed to do that? Shouts Usopp. This whole thing is happening because people are after your life, man. But listen, Frankie, as he calls Frankie on a snail, it seems like Bonnie is down below now. And Frankie responds, "She's alive. Glad to hear it. Kizaru kicked her right into the barrier, so I was worried. How does a grown man like you let her get kicked?" Vegapunk shouts, "Sorry, my bad. I'll go help her as soon as I can. But the barrier!" And in a building A on the second floor, Sanji butts in. "This is Sanji speaking." Hold on, I don't have a good Sanji, do I? No. Let me try that one more time. I always read him with like a Kentucky Fried accent, so forgive me. "This is Sanji speaking. If Bonnie needs to be rescued, I'm there. We packed up all your so-called luggage for you, Vegapunk. I'll head towards the rear exit. Let's all meet up there."
I wonder what this luggage is.
Yeah,
Yeah, same.
it's a box.
It's
With a fan?
probably like weird science supplies or something like that, where it's not actually luggage. It's probably why we kind of had to bold it, but something for sure.
Just a lot of doodads and beakers.
Yes.
But below in the Fabrio phase, "Ah! Stay away from the center of town! We believe that the pirate jewelry Bonnie is there!" A bunch of Marines are shouting. "She's lurking somewhere, just watch out!" "Darn it!" And we see one has been turned into a little baby. "She'll tweak your age!" And another into an old man. "Now where'd she scamper off to?" And we see Bonnie hiding behind some rubble. "Damn it! Find her and take her out! I've spotted Sentomaru! He's burnt to a crisp!" And Sentomaru is burnt to a crisp.
Burnt to a crisp.
More like burnt toast.
Man.
When you said Bonnie in the rubble, I just kept thinking Bonnie Rubble.
Bonnie. Wow.
"Barney, you've aged up my precious pebbles."
Ooh,
Now she's old. He missed out on watching her grow up. It's
that's
tragic.
true. That's tragic.
Wow. I never realized all the connections here. This is crazy.
Wow.
It's a really
Well,
tragic
anyway,
story.
Bonnie's looking over and says, Sentamaru.
Yes, and she is remembering what happened that brought her to this moment where she fell through the explosion from the laser from the defense shield, and is falling down like like a duck that's been shot. She's just twirling downward and lands in Sentomaru's arms, who, after getting blasted by Kizaru, he's kind of doing like the Whitebeard thing and just like he's dying on his feet here. Never let it be said that Oda will pass up a chance for an awesome, guy standing in defeat type of moment. And he's wobbling, but he's standing. He's caught her, and he says, "Bonnie, run before the Navy gets here." And she's like, "Sentamaru," and then he falls over. And back to this moment where she's hiding behind the one piece of rubble they're not looking behind, and she's like, "What do I do?"
Betty Rubble.
Betty Rubble. Can I manage to stay hidden until it all blows over? Time. The clock is running out on Bonnie down here. But meanwhile, up in the Labo phase, we see Luffy, who is, I guess he's just chilling now because he threw Kizaru, and he's just kind of yucking it up and observing Zoro fighting Lucci. He's like, "What, are you fighting?" As we hear the sounds of their combat, he's like, "You want help?" And Zoro says, "Just focus on Kizaru, man." As they're huffing and panting, and then we get a cool sort of like in mid action panel of Zoro's just swinging them swords, and Lucci is throwing his claws, and it looks like his old Gmail app is telling him he has a new message on his shoulder. That's how they used to look.
What?
It's true.
He's got full 3 sword style going here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see
His
the
tattoo.
Gmail thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, before you talk about Sentamaru, I just want to say Sentamaru on the right page. That looks like he got his own nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Nothing
Exactly.
at all.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. So we go to the next page, and pretty cool side-by-side panel of Zoro fighting Rob Lucci. Zoro says, if this is the best you can do, I wouldn't expect to get a shot at fighting our captain. And he's got his swords imbued with haki to show that he's serious. And Lucci says, "Haha, we'll see. But the number 2 of an Emperor of the Sea is more than worth killing on his own." Number 2.
This is funny. This is funny because before, as the arc was starting, one of the first things Lucci said was, "I do not view Straw Hat as an emperor." And now that he's been downgraded to not good enough to beat Luffy, he's like, "Hey, number 2 of an emperor. Pretty good."
Yeah, he's kind of a poser.
Yeah.
He's like wearing Marshall's brand Jinkos or whatever. Meanwhile, much like Homer's barbecued pig, Geezer is flying away from Egghead.
It's still good. It's still good.
It's still good. It's still good.
It's just a little airborne.
Yeah, he's just a little airborne. And he's headed right towards the ocean. He goes, seem to be falling toward the ocean. And he sort of, veers up because he can do that with a whoop, zoop. And he readies his sacred treasure attack. It says, "Yasakani's sacred jewel." And really cool just action panels here of him shooting his lasers over towards Egghead, and as he does, he sort of imbues himself within these lasers. So he's on his way back to fighting Luffy with a swing. Somewhere Wayne and Garth got pretty horny while reading this chapter. And Luffy's looking out into the horizon to see if he can find Kizaru. I love. By the way, I just love. I love how stark white Gear 5 Luffy is. It just looks so. I don't know. These just beautiful line work here. Mm-hmm. I just love this panel of Luffy looking like, where is he? It's very. I don't know. With very minimal shading, it kind of reminds me of like old small press comics. Anyway, the lasers seem to be coming to a point in front of Luffy, but turns out they're coming to many points. It's multiple Kizarus, and Luffy's eyes bug out in surprise, as he is wont to do in this form, and Kizaru readies his Ama no Murakumo sword and tries to get a few slices off of Luffy, who is dodging by the seat of his pants. He gets grazed a bit and goes yow, and gives Kizaru a Gum Dawn Whip, which I guess is just a Gum Whip, but in Gear 5.
Mm-hmm. But first thing in the morning. Yeah.
That's right.
It's a Gum Dole Whip.
Gum Dole Whip with a little rum. He kicks through a few Kizarus who are just made out of laser. Luffy starts skittering away, saying, "Oh, that was a hollow. Which one's the real one?" And he gets.
He's pumping his legs like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I love how he runs in this form. Truly remarkable. So all these Kizarus are sort of following Luffy's trajectory, which is sort of like a weird.
They feel like the broomsticks from the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Oh,
yeah, right.
Nice.
Steve, I had a month recently where I watched that short like every fucking morning. It's so good.
Okay.
Just imagine little Kizarus
Been obsessed with it.
getting chopped into pieces. Or that was the itchy and scratchy version.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like if it just a broomstick had Kizaru's
Yeah, it
wooden
happens
face.
as well. Yeah.
It's just way more violent and itchy and scratchy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then Luffy zips around and goes, "Tricked ya," and readies a Gum. Next page.
Dawn Stamp as Luffy's armament hockey-fied foot stamps through all of the Kizarus like a shish kebab. But you could... I don't know if you can tell this. No, not in this one here. But then Luffy says, did I get the real one too? And we hear we see an explosion below in the was it Fabrio phase? Is that what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we hear a shriek, and Luffy goes, "Wah!" And his eyes just chart down to Kizaru, who looks like he's choking Usopp. And Luffy says, "Yeah, he tricked me." And Usopp's like, Luffy! And you have Kizaru here saying, that's strange. Wherever could Vegapunk be? And Luffy is curious himself. So we cut away. We see we see a strange vehicle crash out like a Futurama tube. And we have a little Sanjino here say, "Wait, hang on. Let me in too, Vegapunk." And, coming in first place in the wacky races, it's Vegapunk and
the Vega Tank.
And the Vega Tank 8. Who's the other one again? Atlas.
Atlas.
Atlas, yeah.
Atlas.
Vegapunk and Atlas and the Vega Tank 8.
And the Vega Vroom Vroom is what it would probably be called in wacky races.
And Sanji's actually holding on to it because it's like coated. It looks like it's coated in a bubble. And Sanji's like, "What's gone into you? You look crazy." And I think this is Vegapunk saying, "What's my Vegapunk?" And it's like, "Don't you dare touch her, Navy. Hang on, Bonnie, I'm coming to save you. I don't leave that poor little child behind to die.
I'm coming to save the lot of you.
I'm bad at this.
He's gonna get an axe in the head.
Yeah. So does anyone did anyone have any particular reaction to that line there? That
Yes.
last one.
Yes.
Yeah,
You-
sounds
yeah.
like. Well,
No,
I mean, we'll talk
Sorry.
about it, I guess. But yeah, that's an interesting tidbit.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping everyone who's ever drawn sexy Bonnie fan art responded with. I can only pray.
Yeah. So
Tim-
okay. So there's one word that you might hear a lot in series like One Piece, which is komusume, which means like it literally means little girl, but it's the kind of thing that you would see used in like a patronizing manner. So like if like one of the villains was like talking down to Nami or something, like, oh, little girl, you won't be able to save your friends, komusume, which is a very again, like I said, patronizing view. But this word that he uses here, which I translate as little child, but it could be little girl as well. What he says is osanai ko, which means literally means young child, but the kanji, the osanai, the young adjective there is young, like little as in like under 10 years old type of little, like when it's used with the kanji for child with ko, it means yoji, which is like infant basically, or toddler or something like that. So obviously I don't think the implication is that Bonnie is a toddler, but it's an odd choice of words if Bonnie is, whatever, I forget what the Vivre card said, but I think she was listed as having the appearance of a 24-year-old or something like that. I mean, she's obviously like clearly visually in the same range as most of the the younger Straw Hats. So, definitely not something you would assume somebody would use to describe her. So definitely a big red flags on that one as far as like, okay, so there's definitely something going on with Bonnie here.
Well, it's because he's referring to it in the present tense as opposed to like, he didn't save her before years ago when she was a child. He's
Right.
saying currently that poor little
Yes.
child. Yeah. Interesting.
Heads up, little girl.
Yes. I also, it was bugging me, and then I remembered, I was like, why does this Kizaru and Usopp illustration look so familiar? And then I realized it was because he's giving him the Sanji versus full body treatment there with the choke around the chin.
Usopp should have wasted all that holographic meatloaf.
So on our final set of pages, the first reaction to Vegapunk's charge is from Luffy, who's like, Appleman, don't go into the open, he'll kill you.
Are you doing the Walter White thing?
Yeah, that's what. Okay, so our friend Ken on the Discord did
really good.
did post the Walter White in the car freaking out reaction, and Kizaru is he's looking down towards the Fabrio phase where the little the Vegatank 8 is racing for the finish line, and he says, "And where do you think you're going, Vegapunk?" And zaps a laser, but Luffy leaps in front of it and bravely sacrifices himself by chomping on the like a dog. He just chomps on the laser,
Good.
and it's a spicy laser as we determined earlier. And he's like, ah! And the beams of light are just zapping out of all of his orifices here. This is totally how light works. And
It looks like the Human Torch from like that Fantastic Four movie from like 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. I mean, he
Chris Evans actually.
ate laser, huh?
He ate it like
Ed,
the
that was not
mask
the
eating
most
a
recent
bomb.
Fantastic Four.
No, that's what I'm saying. The one from 20 years ago.
Yeah, the one that where they animated all the torch stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't look good.
And I like the longer shot here. You can see that not only is he gleaming, but you also get the So he's not hurt that bad, folks. He's doing all right. Luffy's having fun with it. And Frankie from God knows where, he just leaps onto the ball here of the Vega Tank 8 and says, "I'll go too." And he commands Lilith to use the General Frankie to carry the ship, and presumably just like tosses her the keys. She's like, "Okay."
Okay.
Yeah.
Did Frankie knock Sanji off the tank? Where's Sanji now?
He might be inside the bubble.
Or maybe he's in there.
He's probably,
Yeah, that's a good question.
it kind of looks like there's more than one person in there.
Yeah, we're kind of at the mercy of Oda's squiggle vision here.
If you look on the left, it's like a really small silhouette,
Maybe
normal sized person.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that this is like their bubble power, not like a glass container.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But meanwhile, outside on the coast of Egghead, we have some unknown figure is alerting all of the Navy. Alert! Dr. Vegapunk has descended from the labo phase. And Edison at the control console is partially deactivating the Frontier Dome, reactivating soon. So I guess just quick enough for the tank to get out of the bubble, as we can kind of see it reacting at the top as he goes shunk out of it. And meanwhile, this would be Atlas, I believe, through a loudspeaker on the tank, is calling out above the ground level Fabrio phase. "Attention all pacifistas! Vegapunk has new orders. Wipe out all Navy sailors on this island." And we see the pacifista symbolically receiving, the sound waves are hitting the pacifista's receptor as it receives the orders. But we also ominously have a picture of a Jay Garcia Saturn, who of course is the top totem on the totem pole of the authority hierarchy, and we know that he's in one of these ships outside. So that's not a good sign for this attempt here to control the pacifistas.
Indeed.
And that's the end. And we gotta wait now for 2 weeks for the next chapter.
Hell.
Yep.
Luffy's got to digest that spicy meatball.
Yeah, so the live action promotion breaks are over and the regular breaks have resumed.
Yes. Yeah. I think we had 3 chapters in a row, so that's the usual. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, thoughts on the chapter. Mike, why don't you go first?
Sure. It's a good chapter. I think that this is a chapter that it does a lot of work in both setup and progression. And there's it just seems like a lot of pieces are on the board right now, and the next couple of chapters are just going to have a lot of moments to choose from where it goes from here. And I'm very happy that Luffy versus Kizaru gets to be like really flashy, but it still has a ton of like forward momentum to the story. But there's still like a bunch of shoes that have to drop that I'm waiting on.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's Saturn up to? Which of Blackbeard's crew is like waiting outside? I'm really interested in what the effects of using Gear 5 is gonna be on Luffy, because like he's doing a lot. He's doing so much. The Bonnie stuff is really cool. That we're probably gonna get answers on that, but a few like random notes that I had where I definitely wonder what luggage Vegapunk has that's weird enough for them to comment on it. I also did not realize that Luffy ate the beam until like my second reading on it. I thought he just got like smashed by it, so that's a really cool thing to see. But I really like the gag with Sanji clinging to the ship and then Frankie doing it too. Because I feel like Sanji and Frankie is not a dynamic that we see too often. I don't know if anybody else like reads it this way, but I've always read Frankie on like a more pro Zoro like character. Not that there are like sides to that, but I don't know. I think it just like it's baked into his like hard boiled aspects.
Yeah, they both have a stoic side, I guess I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it was really good. I'm always looking at Saturn when he shows up, like Homer looking at the little Yakuza guy. Like, little guy hasn't done anything yet. You know it's gonna be good. So, good chapter. Waiting. I'm excited for where it's gonna go.
All right, Alex, you want to go next?
Yeah. I thought this was a really fun chapter. It was short, but I think that it was cool to see like Luffy actually fight a Navy admiral in this form. Especially like Kizaru, who like really handed them their asses in Shibandi. Yeah, the Bonnie stuff is interesting. Zoro fighting Lucci, I think, is really fun too. Just kind of goes to show you that you don't need that like swordman mashup for him, or matchup rather. I really the one thing that I took away from this is I really like that like Bonnie and Sentomaru and Kizaru and Vegapunk all have this like weird familial relationship. That like will obviously all come to light at some point.
It's tied in with Kuma and the mad scientist, and
yeah, I think it's fun and really like develops Bonnie too in a fun way. We didn't really know much about her for like how long has she been in the story? For like 13 years, something like that.
Since Shibandi, yeah.
Yeah, since Shibandi, yeah. I guess Aruj is the only one that we don't really know too much about. But
Well, she's getting the focus like Capone got the focus in Whole Cake Island.
Yeah, and I really love that. Also, Jay Garcia's here. Oh no.
Sorry, I was going to say that leaves Aruj as our little Yakuza guy.
Yeah, a big Yakuza guy. I think the only joke I wanted to make was used up the luggage. His so-called luggage made me think of that in Trash of the Titans, Krusty's box of used up porno. So that's it for me.
When Luffy said Appleman, I thought of just like Vegapunk in a black turtleneck like Steve Jobs.
Oh,
Nice.
Appleman, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a Mac, I'm a PC, but with Vegapunk and I don't know. Caesar.
He had a really, really long neck with a really long turtleneck. That was Vegapunk's style.
I like that.
Steven, what do you think?
Yeah. So this is a 15-page chapter. It's a little shorty, and sometimes I mean it obviously depends on where in an arc we are. Sometimes when he does those, it feels like he makes sure to like cram in the same amount of content, and you get stuff that's like really, really dense. And I feel like this was kind of the opposite, where we're kind of getting into some actiony stuff, and as a result, it felt like a short chapter to me, and it's one of those like it's the B chapter when you're getting from point A to point C. Although I guess in this arc it would be more like the G chapter going from F to H or something like that, just because there's been so much going on. And so I do think it's one of those kind of marathon chapters, because there was not a lot of like standout moments here. Nothing is definitive. They're kind of sparring with the Luffy and Kizaru and Zoro and Lucci and whatnot. So they're just kind of holding off and helping the tension ramp up a little bit before we get to whatever the climax is going to be. So this one didn't really leave much of an impression on me, but there was some cool stuff. We did talk about the tidbit with Bonnie, which is interesting, and interestingly enough, like the Kizaru stuff. And I don't know if Oda has done this before, and I just forgot about it. But I was like, especially that. Let's see, which page is this? 10, I think, is the one where Luffy is looking at the lasers and then they all turn into Kizaru's, and he's like, whoa. And I was like, man, this page looks so empty. And then I realized it was because Oda didn't, he did not designate a background for them, and I realized then, especially with the Dole on the bottom panel where you see all the Kizarus pop in, that it's faded out, or it's like kind of fuzzed out by all the foreground elements, and I was like, oh, it's supposed to be like it's all light, that's the effect of Kizaru's lasers, is that it just, it's like, a classic anime like white background effect during action type of stuff. And I was like, okay, that is kind of cool. I mean, it doesn't give you much to look at, but it is an interesting creative choice. And there's fun shenanigans. Luffy kicking through using his smarts to kick through all of the Kizarus, like he just got the pellet in Pac-Man and he lined up all the ghosts and he just ate them all in one row, like boom, 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 boom. That was fun, but not a lot that was super memorable, I would say. So, I guess I would say it was an okay chapter for me.
All right, Steve.
Yeah, this one was definitely a shorter one, which I felt like, oh man, it's like I wanted so much more because I knew we were heading into a break too. But when I instead of like just speed reading through and really just taking time and really valuing the panels and the structure and just the pacing of this fight, there's some pretty entertaining stuff here. I really got a kick out of like Kizaru being like, in Luffy's giant hand and just going, "Where are you throwing me?" And it's getting flung towards the ocean, and him kind of just, I'm trying to think of like the right verb for him.
Seem to be heading toward the ocean.
It reminds me so much of.
It's going down the ocean.
Ocean City.
Go on.
Sorry.
I can't assist you on this one.
No, that's fine. It's just it's a Maryland thing.
But I'm trying to, like, he's careening towards the ocean, and his that last panel of him going like zoop, it just reminds me of like when Luffy, Law, and Kid wouldn't get out of the way of like Kaido's like fireballs.
Yeah.
Or it reminds me of like when Zoro got flung at Pika. It's weird, kind of just using your body to, I don't know. I just thought it was really entertaining. That part really stuck out with me. More Gear 5th Luffy is always like a treat. I just love just seeing him drawn more and more, and kind of seeing Oda like nailing down his consistent look here. The gags are great, and now I'm just so excited to see Luffy fight all the time because anything can happen. I mean, he ate a laser. He did like the reverse Nappa mouth blast in this. I was almost gonna say, I'm like, this was like a nothing chapter, nothing really happened, but there's always something. I think Oda always gives you something, and I think that something was how Vegapunk referred to Bonnie. I think that was like the one little nugget. That and Atlas sending out the call to the pacifistas, but Jerry Garcia also being there, showing like, I don't know if that's gonna work out the way you thought, but yeah, very entertaining.
It's nice to have action sometimes.
Yeah. Soothing action.
Garcia's just waiting. Saturn's just waiting with the, I had to do it to him hands too. So he's gonna probably do it to him.
Yeah, this chapter is really held together by the Kizaru and Gear 5 Luffy fight, which is very amusing. It's the way that Luffy fights with Kizaru, and the way that Kizaru also fights a little whimsically. He uses trickery. You got Luffy out of the way in order to do what he needed to do, but sort of did it in an amusing way. But him getting flung towards the ocean, or just maintaining his cool while in the fight with with Joy Boy that was a lot of fun, and just to see how the gang is coming together, because we're gonna have to I feel like we're gonna be making like an escape from Egghead coming up soon. So we're gonna have to see who comes with and who stays behind and where we end up going. Yeah, I mean, Bonnie is an interesting one. I feel like we still haven't gotten the full story on her. So, but Steven, you were mentioning earlier that Oda does, like, in a shorter chapter, I feel like sometimes it can feel longer if you just flash around to a bunch of different scenes. But this all sort of takes place in one action like continuum. It's like there's one thing leads to another. There aren't they're all part of the same scene, even if they aren't exactly in the same place. So this this I don't know, this chapter felt very breezy. Just like the way all the characters interact, like even like briefly with Sanji and Jinbei, and Sanji jumping onto the tank and then Frankie jumping onto. It's just everyone's in their they're up for they're very up for the adventure in this one, despite how much danger they're in. But it also shows how far Luffy's come that he's just fighting with an admiral this way. Like I mean, because I don't know, every admiral has had the chance to beat Luffy's ass at this point. Aokiji, Kizaru, Sakazuki, and Fujitora as well. But now that he's come this far, he actually is just fighting on the level with them. So he really is one of the strongest people in the world. It was doubtable before, but he's proven it. So that's what he's going to be like from now on. But any other final thoughts on the chapter?
I've been seeing like a theory floating around online that like since we're so close to chapter 1100, Oda's like padding for like a big reveal or something like that. I mean,
I don't know if he plans that far ahead.
I also don't think that either, just because these things just tend to.
I mean, he hasn't done anything
scheduling.
He hasn't done anything seriously special for like the round numbers in a while, right?
Well,
no, yeah.
he did kind of hold. He did say that he had kind of reformatted some of his scenes leading up to chapter 1000, and I think we probably picked up on that as far as like, that he was kind of maneuvering things around just so that he could have that rooftop scene. But I don't know. We're still several chapters away from the 1100 right now, so it's hard to say at this point.
And I've seen some brainwormy posts about like how since Dragon showed up first in chapter 100, then he's definitely going to do the same thing and save Luffy in chapter 11.
What does that even mean?
Based on what?
Based on the fact that quote unquote, Oda loves like numbers and da da da. I think that's been such an apocryphal thing that's been going around the One Piece fandom for so long that it's kind of
such
ridiculous
a hit or
at this
miss.
point.
Like,
yes,
like I think Oda tries to make something cool happen on the 100 markers, but it's
never like in chapter 200. I think it's Water Luffy versus Crocodile, which isn't like particularly amazing.
400. I think 400 is when the Straw Hats got paired up with CP9 fighting. It's
it doesn't matter.
It's
all right.
Yeah, Ed, I did want to say on you mentioned the sort of like the logic of the chapter, and I do think that it's a good comment, because when it is like really dense, like each set of pages is a different scene and they're not particularly connected, you have to like sort of retrain your brain. Okay, what is happening in this scene? What's going on here? Why do I care about this? But this chapter, there's a very clear logical continuity that goes from each page to each page, and that's probably why it feels so breezy to read through it, is because you don't have to like stop and it's not like you're waking up from a nap, like, where am I? Who am I? You don't have to reorient the entire universe to figure out what's going on the next page. It's it all is very smooth.
All right, shall we move on to the next segment?
Let's go.
we shall.
This is the Triple Anime Recap for episodes 1075 through 1077. I'm your host, Sam, and today with me we have, you'll never guess who. It's a one in a million chance. We have Ed.
Hey, it's good to be back. I like this. It forces me to catch up on all the anime. I watched 4 episodes today.
4 pretty good episodes.
Absolutely. And these 3 fit together. It's the beginning, and then we have the big climax episode, and then sort of the cool down afterwards. So yeah, it was...
And joining us today.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh. And joining us today, we also have Kellogg's Mini Wheat's own Steve Yurko.
Part of this balanced breakfast, baby.
Yes. So the first episode is 1075, 20 years worth of prayers. Take back the land of Wano. And it opens with Luffy in the midst of his classic big punchies.
You guys talked about
like
you guys talked about the new intro on the last anime recap, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Did you have anything you wanted to say about that?
This is my first time experiencing it. I think I need to I need to watch it on 1/4 speed to appreciate it. Honestly, it's not really my genre of music, but I can see it growing on me. I still like the ending more currently.
I like them both a lot. I like how the music is kind of ranging from, you got the shamisen to these deeper, like darker ambient background noises, and then like this very like upbeat trumpeting comes in, or like the horns or whatever instrument it is specifically, but very cool song. And like Luffy is like in the midst, like while he's throwing the punch, he's like basically grabbing the equivalent of Kaido's like collar. He's like, I'm gonna punch you, and the sort of more abstract visuals kind of make it seem like Luffy's stretched out arm is like a thread of fate between them or something like that. And you get this like image of this profile close up of Luffy and Kaido facing each other, but like Kaido's upside down for some reason.
Yeah, they did that a couple of times. I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why they did it, but
it's just it looks like an anime opening kind of composition.
Luffy blowing on his burnt hand. Actually, everything with the fire dragon, I thought looked amazing.
Yeah, Kaido burns Luffy's hand, and he's like, "You don't have to grab me. I'm not running away." And then he turns into the big, giant flame Kaido. Basically just a big, giant flaming dragon with the normal-sized, also giant dragon inside of him, piloting the flame dragon like a mech.
Yeah, they do some, like, really, I don't want to say expressionist, but, like, sort of abstract, like, the huddled masses of humanity. Mm-hmm. It was, I don't know.
Yeah,
they do some cool stuff here.
Kaido lets rip a big flame blast. And I like the little, like, cartoon, like, almost like emoji flames that show up in Luffy's eyes. And we get a lot of, like, Luffy turning into this, like, golden outline, like, starry constellation kind of look. And Usopp and his gang are getting sloshed around in the water in the castle. And then we have a sequence of Kawamatsu remembering, Odin throwing them out of the burning pot. And, like, I don't know how much of this is a good amount of this seems like it was redrawn, because it's like a completely different reinterpretation of the scene of Odin throwing the rest of the Akazaya 9 out of the pot. And we get this big kind of retelling of, like, Wano's history from the perspective of, like, Orochi's reign, and all the ways he terrorized the people. And we've got like a montage of people dying under Orochi. Mm-hmm. We've got the different daimyo of Wano, all fighting the good fight and refusing his invitations.
This episode's all about the people of Wano, and by extension Kurozumi especially, because he's been holding them down for 20 years.
Indeed. And then like we come to the eye catch while this like weird pillar boxing is like closing in on Orochi, and he's like gloating at the audience. That brings us to the eye catch, and then we get some long like prison memories of all the different prisoners and samurai who were working in the prison that Luffy was working out in with Hyo. And it's all black and white and like green for like the smokestacks and like all the poison that Kaido is polluting the country with. Mm-hmm. And like they're really really laying the Kurosawa vibes.
Sure.
Extra thick in this episode.
Well, it also leads directly in, I think, what and the title of the next episode is The World That Luffy Wants. So really, I mean, it makes sense to lay it on, I think, in this situation.
Got the hungry woman and trying to comfort her crying baby. And the colors finally come back once the people of Wano are feasting on the smile fruits, which we all know what that means. It is not actually a happy occasion. They get to eat, but now they're smiling and laughing at everything, regardless of how they really feel. And we got like a little scene of like Orochi terrorizing like some random shamisen girl. And then we come back to the present where Orochi is still alive. I keep forgetting exactly how drawn out this gets. Orochi's still alive, and he's like, I guess got like snake vines coming out, and he's like screeching. He's gonna kill Hiyori, and then Robin's hands show up behind.
That's what it looked like.
Hiyori.
Yeah.
This is our transition into like a memory of Toki, but it's just like straight up like Robin's arms,
Yeah.
like kind of creating like a big pillar.
And he's still on fire the whole time. Must smell amazing in there.
He's on fire. Hiyori does not flinch as he attacks her, and Denjiro steps in and he cuts off Orochi's final head, and then he like puts his arms around Hiyori and comforts her. And then we match cut this to one of the lanterns flying out in the air from the flower capital that has written on it. It says, "May Orochi be gone." That was somebody's wish. And then lots of beautiful lantern shots throughout these episodes. And Momonosuke is remembering his mom, and that gives him some gusto, which I think we're repeating that beat a few times here.
Yeah, well, he needs it. He needs it.
Yeah, we've got Usopp trying to wake up Kinemon and Okiku, and everyone in the flaming performance floor is like all the samurai. They're now just in pure like putting their hands together and praying for Kaido's defeat. And the episode ends on the cliffhanger of Luffy and Kaido's clash. They're almost touching each other is how the episode ends. Luffy's been throwing this punch since last week, the episode before this one, and now they're almost going to touch.
Yeah, I think there was like a recap filler episode in between these two, I think.
There may have been, yeah.
Yeah. But this was a good episode, despite like how slowly they're telling the story. But it was visually very stunning, and
yeah, I really appreciated them kind of taking this episode to just focus on the people of Wano again. Mm-hmm. I know it kind of feels like, come on, just get to the punch already. It kind of seems ridiculous, but it was a great reminder of some of the stakes, but also it was visually, breathtaking, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it really connects to the Kurosawa homage of like that like historical samurai tragedy storyline that I don't think the manga quite like got to successfully. So I did appreciate that here. Episode 1076, The World That Luffy Wants. So it's a one sentence title this week, so it's a big deal. We have Kaido is like, they're in the middle. The clash is coming to a head. Kaido's we're like getting match cuts with Kaido and his like child self. And then we have this kind of abstract view of Kaido sitting in a chair thinking about his youth. Mm-hmm. And then like all of this like Kaido flashback
is very over animated, or not even over animated, just very, I don't know, it feels like it's out of a movie.
It's very distinct.
Yeah.
I like the 10-year-old Kaido with his club, and his hair is like wobbling with every step.
Right, yeah.
It's really neat look.
Like that's what I say when I mean like that I think it's over animated. Normally in a TV production like this, like the hair swaying and moving your head on every footstep wouldn't really do that.
Yeah, and every time we like jump to a different age, like it's very hard to keep track of exactly how old Kaido's supposed to be, because at one point he's like 15, but he looks like he's 30 or something.
He's got that like Joestar.
I mean,
yeah,
he's very Jotaro, yeah.
And sometimes he's old enough for a beard, sometimes he's not. But yeah, we've got a young Kaido thinking about the celestial dragons and like wondering, looks like, well, why do people put up with these guys. And
Being sold off for politics.
Being sold off for politics. I guess the king of his country that he's lived in has had him chained up, and they're selling him off to the Marines in exchange for a seat at the Reverie. Obviously, Kaido's not gonna stick with the Marines. Does not find his calling there.
I do like the gag of him getting captured every time he wants to eat, and then just breaking out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like in between some of these flashbacks, we've got the big flaming Kaido like kind of chomping at Luffy's fist. I like the kind of like the bent outward mouth chomp that Kaido does. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like his jaw is like a flower petal.
And it starts here, but it's throughout the whole episode that they make the episode about a clash of philosophies. So Kaido is expounding his philosophy, and Luffy's got, the title of the episode is his vision of the world. So I think they're doing a good job of thematically wrapping that up.
Yeah, Kaido's kind of like yelling at Luffy, like, "Oh, all these people, you've given them hope. They've entrusted their future in you. But what do you want? What are you gonna give them?" And another big flame breath that burns Luffy's hand. And more flashbacks. Kaido escaping the Marine ship. I like the shot of we're kind of pushing in on Kaido's wanted poster of like 70 million, and then like you hear like the fight going on in the background, and you just like Kaido hits somebody and like the blood splats on the poster. Kaido, we get a scene of like Kaido having just like won some fight with some thugs, and this transitions with like the jail bars coming in, and then him breaking out, and then we get the little bit of the Marines are mentioning like, "Oh, he gets caught every time he's hungry." Now he's picking a fight on Full Lead Island, and this is where they mention he's 15, and this is where Whitebeard is inviting him to join the Rocks Pirates. And during his time on the Rocks Pirates, there's a scene of Kaido listening to somebody in the background. He's very blurry, can't make out the shape. If I hazard a guess, it looks like somebody who is wearing something that looks like a straw hat. And the voice is like very like it sounds like the voice actor was like a very, very old man or something. Even though I imagine whoever this person is, we're supposed to imagine he's like like young Roger meeting Rayleigh for the first time, kind of young.
And we get to see.
That's how I imagined it. But
we also get to see a Big Mom at her peak here.
Big Mom, yep. The Rocks Pirates have disbanded, and Big Mom is like, "Oh, where'd that Kaido go?"
The Rocks Pirates have disbanded.
We still don't get to see Rocks, so one day.
Kaido, we see Kaido meeting old lady Higurashi, Kurozumi's, Orochi's, I guess like Orochi's aunt, I suppose.
Ancestor.
Or just somebody else from the clan.
Somebody, yeah.
And then, we're back to the clashing of the fighters. Luffy, he just kind of like beefs his arm up again to like basically get Kaido back for the flame blast a moment ago. And we have a scene of Kaido is talking to King, and they're talking about Yamato, who is talking about Joy Boy. And then Kaido mentions something like, King, if Yamato is talking about the same Joy Boy that you're looking for, then I know exactly who Joy Boy is. And then we're left hanging there. I love this like momentary like abstract image of like Kaido in his like full human form with like Luffy's big giant fist just like hovering above him in slow motion. I thought that was cool. We come to the eye catch of the episode. We come back. Denjiro and Hiyori are having their moment. Momonosuke finally manages to make an extra round of flame clouds, and he snakes around the island and wraps it up in the clouds. And Kaido is continuing to have his rather one-sided argument with Luffy, where he's like, "Violence will dominate the world. What kind of world will you create?" And they're clashing, as they have been. And I love a good metaphorical headbutt of Luffy and Kaido headbutting, as if they weren't just punching and biting each other. We cut back to a flashback of, what Luffy was telling Tama back at the beginning of the arc, where he's basically promising her that he's going to create a country where everybody can eat as much food as they want.
Mm-hmm. It's really showing the stakes here.
Yeah, and and then we get another Luffy throws another punch, and this punch blows away the flames. So now it's just regular Kaido, and the punch is going straight for the real dragon.
There's a blue sky in the background. I thought that was very stark. I thought that looked really cool.
Mm-hmm. And Kaido's life is flashing before his eyes. Everything we've been kind of covering over the last couple episodes is now just in a fast montage. One of the lanterns that we cut to says, "Defeat the scary dragon." As Luffy has just finally landed the final, actually for real last blow, Kaido goes flying into the ground. And Luffy is lifting his head up in bliss. And Momonosuke lands on the ground, gently tuckered out. And then the episode ends with Luffy in freefall.
Yeah. Once once he finally got that last punch going, that was just, I don't know, the music swells and did a really good job of it. And
I really liked how the final blow feels here. I like the effort of blowing away the flame dragon so that you can get to the real dragon. It feels like we're cracking Don Krieg's armor almost.
Right, but also right before it turns all black and white and stuff, Odin comes in yelling at Kaido.
Yes, there's a match cut of Odin.
That was really
the Odin that Kaido's been afraid of all this time.
Yeah, the soundtrack is just right. It wasn't music that I never feel like I've heard before. It might be from, I'm not sure what it's from, but it fit right in here.
1077, the curtains fall. The winner, Straw Hat Luffy. And the episode is opening with Kaido just traveling all the way through the ground. He's snaking through the ground, and then turns human, and he's just still the momentum is so strong. He's still just plowing through the dirt like it's butter. The narrator reminds us that the declared victor was once Kaido, but the results have been revised. It's an actual sporting match that needs
I didn't know you could do that
to be cataloged. And we got Yamato running to catch Luffy. And then, Yamato telling the basically passed out, unconscious Luffy and Momonosuke about, how amazing they were and how they saved everyone. And Cat Viper is admiring the scene from afar, up on top of the skull dome. And he turns and he sees all the lanterns, and it's beautiful. And then he looks down at the big hole in the skull, and he's calling down to the performance floor, and everyone starts cheering. And Cat Viper's he's singing a little song purr, meow, meow, meow.
I totally forgot that Cat Viper is the one that gets to make the announcement.
Yeah, Sungwon's gonna get to do that someday.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool. We spend a good chunk of the episode just kind of cutting around to everybody kind of reacting and picking themselves up and, getting their respective sighs of relief. I like this little scene of Sanji's watching the geisha girl Some and Chuji, and they're huddling with all the other geisha girls and comforting each other, and Sanji's just kind of watching and smiling, and he tries to light a cigarette, but it's all soggy. Chopper, Miyagi, and Tristan, they're doctoring, as they say.
Yeah.
And then we get a nice, wonderful scene of Hitetsu and Toko.
I just saw
back at
that
the
when
Flower Capital.
Sanji's cigarette is all wet, he makes a face that's like Charlie Brown. He does the ugh, or Kathy from the comics.
Yeah. Talking about Yasu, it was very convenient because I was like trying to remember in my head, like, okay, I think I would have changed the story a few times on whether Yasu ate the fruit or was just smiling for everybody else's sake. And then this scene's like, oh no. So the decided upon narrative now is Yasu kind of like discovered Toko eating the fruit and like looked up and saw, all the other people in Ebisu town eating the fruit, and he's like he's in his like short old man mode now, with the little bonnet with the little like vagrant's little bandana thing.
Yeah,
but he's not doing the smiling shtick yet. He still looks like kind of a mean, grumpy old man, but he's like in kind of shock when he sees Toko and the side effects on Ebisu town, and he chooses in solidarity to eat one of the fruits himself. And then that's when the Yasu that we met at the beginning of the arc was born, more or less. And then he's doing a little silly dance to try to cheer Toko up.
There was one other thing. Chopper had a great reaction to Brook doing a skull joke in this episode. He let it breathe. He doesn't immediately freak out. And Robin's playing along too. So Robin has a sense of humor in this one. Everyone's in a very good mood.
And then we have Toko, and we're rewinding a little bit to when Toko and Yasu, or not Yasu, but Hitetsu were writing on the lantern, and Toko originally wrote, "Dad, I miss you," but then after like hearing that her daddy had basically saved the country by sacrificing himself and giving the country a chance, she decides to scratch that off and write instead, "Dad, thank you." And Hitetsu is very moved by this, and he's like, "Yes, it's the perfect note for a samurai to end on." And that brings us to the eye catch of the episode. And Momonosuke is speaking telepathically with Zunisha. He's waking up and he's like, "Okay, Zunisha, I've decided I don't want to open the borders yet." And Zunisha's like, "All right, I respect your decision." And down on the performance floor again, like the remaining Beast Pirate grunts are all in denial, and they're like, "Oh, we're a member of Kaido's crew. Kaido can't be losing." And then like everyone's kind of gearing up for another round of fighting if they have to, since it's basically all just the grunts now. But then Yamato steps in and scares him off, like, "Hey, that big dragon that saved everybody, that's our guy. That's Momonosuke. That's the leader of Wano." And then they all get distracted when like some rumbling happens, and we see lava bubbling up, and like Babanuki in the security room is like, "Oh, tell me what's going on. What's this rumbling?"
Isn't he at the prison camp? The old prison camp?
I don't remember where he was exactly.
That's what it looks like. Like they're in that big quarry.
Yeah, they're monitoring the situation where something weird is going on near the sea level or near the sea floor in the area, I suppose.
There's a big hole going down to where the magma is. That's a problem.
Yeah, so it turns out when you send two giant, powerful people through the Earth, and then
people is debatable.
The Earth has a like a chemical reaction to Big Mom and Kaido's presence.
The Earth gets diarrhea.
And a giant volcano eruption happens. And Momonosuke is still in dragon form. He flies into town, and everyone, like all the townspeople, are like, "Oh no, it's Kaido!" But Momonosuke is like, "No, I'm not Kaido. We have defeated Kaido. That explosion that you just saw, that big volcano eruption, that was us. That was us beating Kaido. And then Momonosuke just like headfirst crashes into the ground, and like a big dust cloud happens. And then we see
You got to make a dust cloud for a
silhouette.
dramatic entrance.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's him like returning to human form, but it happens to coincide with giving everybody else this chance to walk out of the dust.
It also hides exactly, that the fact that he transformed. Maybe
Does he need to?
yeah, I don't know, but the way it's drawn,
He's already like, hey, like, don't worry, guys. I know
it's
I'm
not
a dragon. I know I look like Kaido, but
yeah, I guess.
But yeah, like Hiyori and the rest of the Akazaya 9, the remaining surviving members are coming out of the dust. And Hiyori's kind of in front and center, ready to help make this announcement. And Denjiro kind of steps up by her side. And the people are like, wait a second. Isn't that Kyoshiro? What happened to his pompadour? They're very concerned about his hair. And he's like, I know it's a long story, but now it is time for us to present the new Shogun of Wano. And then that is to be continued. We don't get to see yet who the new Shogun of Wano is.
Yeah, what a tease.
General thoughts on these 3 episodes, you guys?
Well, I think they definitely stayed. They made the emotion. They brought the emotional through line to the conclusion of the arc. I think the first episode dealing with the people and Kurozumi aspect of it, and the second with the Luffy and Kaido fight aspect of it. And I think the first 2 episodes in particular were very well animated. They were very visually stunning, and just the way that the fight resolved in the anime, I think, improved upon what it was in the manga. And the third episode was kind of a cool down episode, which is also a way of sort of getting in touch with the emotional side of the arc, I think, and bringing that to a close. But all in all, very, very good set of episodes.
Steve?
Yeah, tremendous set of episodes. I really liked all these. They definitely slowed the pacing down, but it's not like it was wasted. I think what they used to fill up time was, some really, really great stuff for the story and for characters. Like I said, the first episode focusing on just like this, the citizens of like Ibisu town and all that was really great that they got some time, because from what I remember, the manga really kind of speeds through the ending. So I didn't mind this at all. So when Luffy finally hit Kaido, it felt worth it.
That's like the moment you're waiting for, right?
Yeah. But just like
It's like the moment we've been building to for like 200 episodes.
It's why I don't mind like the placing of like the Skypiea flashback, because it's one more reminder that's like, hey, this is what it's all about, and it just makes that defeat even more satisfying. So
yeah, I thought these were great episodes. It's just kind of amazing where how far the One Piece anime has come, where like I'm pretty regularly saying like I think this is an improvement on what the manga was doing, or this gave like the emotional meat and texture that the manga like often just doesn't have the time to, or the page space to.
And it does things with the art these days that they can't really do on the page.
Yeah, like the atmospheric, like just the lights and colors and just like how kind of just like beautiful the moments that are supposed to be beautiful feel. Yeah, it's just like it's so incredibly far from like how like the start of Wano was already a major step up from the episodes before it, and now I think like the end stretch of Wano is like so much better than even how the beginning of Wano was anime wise. I'm just really, really, really satisfied. I think it was a little slow in a lot of places. I think it was dragging a little much for my taste throughout, but it was like Steve said, it was all for a purpose. It all felt earned.
Definitely.
really enjoyed them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting what kind of cool down episodes we're going to get after this, or how they're going to, they don't have to do all the. There isn't going to be a lot of opportunities for action, Sakuga coming up. So it'll be interesting to see what
They don't have to draw a million dragons.
Right, it's a terrible strain on the animator's wrists.
And mine too.
Yeah. Steve, you're free.
Yeah, I already made the Aladdin joke before, so but it feels good. It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good.
All right.
We'll be starting with the artwork for this week's episode. So,
anything else you guys would like to say before we move on to the next segment?
no, it's as always looking forward to more anime.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, your comments, your theories, and hopefully answer them. We'll see. But we're starting off this week. Our first segment is with Alex. We have This Piece.
That's right. We do have this piece. We have a fair amount. Reverse Light Patch. Reverse Light Patch says, OPP folks, I gotta know why Atlas, the largest Vegapunk satellite, doesn't simply eat the other 6.
Well, they are robots, although that hasn't stopped anyone before.
I mean, that's York's job, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You
Can
don't
of
want to
Red
step on their toes.
Can of Red Lion says, hey OPP, what's in Vegapunk's luggage? Wrong answers only. I gave my answer earlier.
Yes,
so.
okay, so it's not Krusty's
Krusty's used up porno, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Let's see. Lots and lots of zip disks and floppy disks and 5.5-inch floppy disks. Every format going back. Yeah.
They're
Apple
all his,
cores.
They're all his pressure socks to keep the varicose veins in.
Oh man. Yeah.
He's
Whole
only
wardrobe
like
full of 'em.
he's only in his 60s, Vegapunk. I saw on
Yeah, but he looks old as
social
shit.
yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, but that could strike whenever though. My dad's in his 60s and he needs compression stockings too. Vegapunk's my dad.
Behold the ravages of age.
Boo, exit to your left. Apollo Just Cram says, ahoy OPP, banger chapter as always. Everyone else is keeping it short, so will I. If you could make Kizaru-esque hollows of yourself, would you? And what would you use them for? I'd have it go to work for me.
Yeah.
Play PlayStation era RPGs all day.
I don't think I would. I would get jealous of them, living my life better than I am.
I'd rather have the Vegapunks like split my personality in the 6.
Yeah.
That'd be way more cool.
Yeah, this just sounds like Calvin's clones. Was that a transmogrification gun thing? Anyways, Calvin and Hobbes, the one where he made a bunch of clones for himself in order to get them to do his homework, and none of them would do it, and they just ran rampant. And that sounds like what would happen. So I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to say I would not do that.
Maybe if I did, though, I could make a big soup for everybody. Have a nice soup dinner with a bunch of myself. That could be cool.
I like how you went soup dinner, not spaghetti dinner.
Yeah, I'm better at making soup than spaghetti.
That's fair. Danny4, Seraphim Wright, says, hey OPP, sorry if you've been asked before, but do y'all have a favorite color spread? I think my all-time favorite is the one from chapter 526, which is the woodblock style one with the tiger and the dragon with Luffy, Nami, and Zoro and Wano clothing.
Ooh, we did these top 5s a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
We did. I don't even know if I got one.
I can't remember.
I got 2 coming to mind. I really like the train one in the train one in the sky. You
Yes.
Oh, wait,
that
I've
was
got a
in
couple.
opening 12.
Yes.
Yeah, we did that. That's the banner for Domance. I had to remake that with all the Simpsons ones, and that was
Yes.
like a lot of fun. But the other one that I like a lot is the Lego one when they're building the big house.
Oh yeah, that's on one of the calendars, one of the early calendars.
Oh,
I can't.
I got one. Sea Freak. That's my
I'm
favorite
looking. I'm
one.
looking at it right now. I love that
Which
one.
one's that one?
It's the one with
Oh yeah.
Frankie,
You're just looking at
Luffy,
your calendars.
Frankie, Luffy, Robin, and Brooke. And Brooke's got like he's smoking the cigarette and the smoke's coming out of his eyes.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
that's a good one.
The first one that came to mind, so I'm just gonna say it. The one with the Straw Hats going through the jungle, Luffy's standing on top of the tiger, and Robin's in the
Yeah.
foreground.
Great lighting in that.
Beautiful, beautiful. One of the
I
best.
just lent my mom a color walk that I had, and we had a lot of fun just looking through it.
Nice. All right, what's next?
36 Enels on the moon says, "Salutations, OPP. Last week, you all successfully guessed that Kizaru's third named attack would be named after the third of Japan's imperial regalia.
I mean, he has used that in the past. He used
Yeah,
it in
I was
Sabati.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
When he fought with
the,
Rayleigh, he used that.
Yeah, I had to pull the name for that one. I was like, oh, he did use it already. So we have actually seen all three of them.
Well, there you go. With your amazing powers of prediction, what do you think Kobe's other named attacks will be?"
Does Kobe have named attacks?
He has honesty impact.
Okay, well then it's obviously going to be the hustle slam and the loyalty.
Sincerity blast. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Wow. Very good.
But his name isn't. Well, his name is Kobe.
We don't know what that's short for yet.
It's short for Kobayas. That's his full name.
That's
Kobayas!
a cup of coffee.
Kobayas Funke.
Did you spend 800 berries on a call to a Bat Simpson?
Bat Simpson. Dole redos. Big Mike says, "Hey, OPP. Would you say that the Egghead Island arc embodies the dreams of men? It has robots and the women are not wearing pants."
I mean, George Lucas always said they don't have underwear in space. So
That's true.
Yeah, he only told that to Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. So that means Nami and Robin have them taped down, and all the guys have them taped down as well. Yeah. Wisdom Pythagoras says, "Hello, OPP. What do you think Hattori is up to?" Jeez, this sounds like a whoop slap line, doesn't it?
Probably like I don't know, like cleaning their feathers. Probably
Flying around,
Birds,
pooping.
Yeah,
does-
walking around just pooping everywhere.
he doesn't actually talk, guys. He's not smart. It's
Probably getting
ventriloquism.
like a
Birds are smart.
Well,
my like real guess is probably off looking for new hats because everybody else gets some like new hats. Why don't they?
Yeah, probably really jealous that everybody could use the super cool future clothing machine.
Yeah.
He's like, I want one of those.
He's gonna die, or he's gonna like precision bomb. He's gonna poop right in like Zoro's eye and distract him at a pivotal moment.
His good eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he's gonna open up the other one. That's how it's gonna
My
happen.
eye. I'm not supposed to get pudding in it.
It's got bird poop in it.
That's it for Dispies. That's it. We're done.
all right, Steven, we got from the subreddit Archipelago.
Yeah,
for us?
we got a couple comments here. Let's read through them. A CP boss Hattori. Here he is. All right, what does he have to say for himself?
He's got a new hat.
He says, "Hey OPP, this was a crazy One Piece summer with great chapters, amazing anime episodes, new op and ed, not to mention the live action." Wow, sounds like Hattori's been having a good time then. Since you have been fans for a while, do you remember any times when it was very good to be a One Piece fan or just interesting ones?
Oh, sure.
Every
Oh, yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Every day.
God, like, I think we've said it on the podcast a bunch. This is a great time to be a One Piece fan.
True. I mean, we started saying that during like Strong World, and it was true then.
Yes,
and
that was
Yeah.
when you guys started up the...
that was when we started the show. Yeah.
I distinctly remember saying it during Strong World. Yeah, I remember when I first got week to week, it was around the end of Skypia. So that was like a good time, I guess. I think like getting to the point where you're week to week is interesting. Because then it's like then there's the anticipation of, oh God, what's next? I like because you've run out of stuff to have binged at that point. And I think it must be really exciting for probably like our most of our listeners, right? Because I think most of our listeners are probably recent One Piece converts, I guess, over the last like 10 years, maybe. Yeah.
We got a lot of old school fans. Yeah.
We do, but like I'm saying, like I don't know, like we all like what Steven, you're like you were week to week around the same time I was as well, I think.
Yeah, I started.
Early
I
Skypiea.
caught up in mid Skypiea era.
Yeah. So I think I think what Vero, I think like they went through all of it in like 6 months, I think, right? That was
a couple of years ago.
yeah. So I think that like when you get to a point where One Piece becomes week to week, that's always a good time to be a One Piece fan.
True. Yeah, I mean, I remember the Water 7 Enies Lobby time was.
Oh God,
was
Yeah, that's
pretty
when I caught up.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty
it.
intense.
That was the time I wish I caught up. I was so into One Piece, but I was just the way I just consumed the series was strange, but I wish I was reading that week to week.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
I was just checking out the spoilers. I'm like, cool, now I know the story. I'm like, Steve, you dumbass, why don't you just catch up and then enjoy the story?
Well, yeah, like Steven, you're absolutely right in saying the Water 7 and Enies Lobby, especially if you like making forum signatures.
Yeah.
I feel like the CP9 reveal was everybody's forum signature.
Right. Yeah. But the thing is, like, there was no Twitter back then, so I feel like the overall like volume of fans in general was a lot lower back then. Like I feel like for one reason or another, I remember I went back and looked at some like really old like Arlong Park chapter threads for like Enies Lobby era chapters. I think they still have them on that on the database there, and like they're really short. Like they're just not that long because there weren't that many people posting back then. Even though it seemed crazy at the time, but I think in retrospect, it was still a much smaller audience back then. But I do remember everybody being very hyped and thinking like we've never really seen anything like this before in manga. But probably in terms of like of the overall like franchise, Strong World is probably the closest thing to this, just because it was a big hit. It was super popular in Japan, and like for months afterwards, it was like, oh, here's the latest. Like they're still selling tickets. It's still it's expanding on its record of however many yen it brought in, and then the volume sales were like record setting for like the next year or so after that. It was a huge boom for One Piece. It's similar to like when people talk about how crazy Demon Slayer's sales just kind of coming out of nowhere and exploding, and somewhat similar I think with Jujutsu Kaisen. It's had a huge upswell as well. Like that was the moment for One Piece where you just looked at it and you were like, I cannot believe the numbers that they are selling of these volumes. It was crazy.
Yeah, that and I think now you could consider like a benchmark because of the live action.
Yeah.
Like I think Zach either said it on a podcast or he said it in the Discord, but I totally agree. After watching the live action, I was on like a bit of a One Piece high. Like I was like, oh man, now I gotta I want to rewatch the anime, like which is not something.
It's an impossible task.
Yeah, like last night, I watched like 2 episodes of Water 7, particularly just because like I missed like that feeling, like when
Cold
Usopp,
open.
no, like when Usopp busts into the Frankie house. I remember that was like a form signature of mine. Because that was that was a real benchmark for people who liked Usopp or who didn't like Usopp until like, oh wow, he's a badass, that kind of thing. There's so many different benchmarks for the quote unquote good time to be a One Piece fan. I could go on and on and on about nostalgia, of course.
I will say that this is maybe a controversial statement. But the one downside of it becoming more popular and more mainstream is now it's just the subject of just some of the worst social media engagement that if you're a fan of it, yeah, that's cool. For me, that's not how I engage with the piece of media I like. Just
I haven't been
everything's a
paying attention.
competition. Everything is meant to stir up shit. I hate that.
Sorry to cut you off there,
No, go
Steve.
ahead.
I haven't been paying attention too much to like that kind, so I gotta imagine there are just a ton of like really half-baked video essays coming out about a lot of it. Is that something you've been seeing?
No, not necessarily. And you know,
Okay.
I avoid One Piece on YouTube just because of spoilers.
Yeah.
Because I think YouTube is like
Smart.
the number one guilty party of spoilers coming out for the chapter. So it's YouTube. Yeah, I just don't engage. I don't integrate my One Piece fandom into my YouTube watching. I think I was just talking about like just like Twitter, just saying like, you know, it's like Sanji couldn't beat any of Zoro's opponents and stuff like that. And I'm like,
boy.
and then I'm like Peter Griffin. I'm like, oh my god, who cares? And I'm thinking like, was I like this watching Dragon Ball Z back in the day? Maybe. I don't know. I think for the most part, I'm like, I'm just enjoying this. I don't. I like this is what happens when you don't watch sports. You know, watch a sport.
Yeah, this is what happens when we lose the draft. You know, these kids just need a war to fight.
You know, we need another Paramount war. That'll fix them.
All right. Let's move on to Avatar Calamity. Now, we did kind of touch on this topic, but let's see. Hey, OPP, as we are approaching chapter 1100, do you think anything special or important will happen in that chapter? Could we finally find out what the big incident mentioned in chapter 800 was? Personally, I think it means both an admiral and one of the elders will be defeated, which will usher in a drastic change in the course of the world until the end of the series. Do you think we'll get anything special for chapter 1100? And if so, what? And I had to think about this for a second. The chapter 800 mention was the Grand Fleet being said to someday cause a huge incident. I think that was the Mary Joa busting in on the Celestial Dragons, right? Didn't we?
Maybe.
Yeah, that was
that?
That was Leo and
Yeah, and Sai.
and Sai, right?
See, I figured it would be that hasn't happened yet because I thought that maybe the entire Grand Fleet would be implicated, like Bartolomeo and Cavendish and all them.
Maybe maybe the giant robot takes off with the Thousand Sunny and flies them to the moon. That'll happen. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, let's see. So 1100. I was thinking, and a thought did occur to me where, like, if Oda does want to slip in a like Kuma flashback, like not a long one, but you know, if he puts in one that's like 3 chapters or
Kuma and
2.5 chapters, yeah, something that explains what Bonnie's deal is, that would give him more time to to have a resolution to this kind of moment that's coming to a head. So if he does have, like, if something crazy happens with the giant robot awakening, or like this guy says, if they bust up Saturn too, like that'd be fun to see, just to like really jolt the world news cycle. It'd be pretty crazy.
Wait, does the world at large know about the 5 elders, or are they like a secret
That's
thing?
a good question.
I assume not.
Yeah. I mean, they're
I don't know.
they're kind of presented as a shadowy cabal, so you would hope that it doesn't turn out that everybody knows who they are. And
Everyone knows the Celestial Dragons, and
Yes.
I assume that they're, they know that they control the world, but they don't really know how. So it just sort of makes sense that there would be some kind of governing body there.
yeah, it's one of those things that, like, everybody they don't necessarily know why or how. They just know, like, you're not supposed to mess with these guys,
Right.
and that's kind of the main point. We'll move on then to Shucks Nick 718, who says, "Hi OPP. I'm currently trying to catch up on OPP episodes as I have had other things pop up in my life that had to take priority. I'm on episode 700 at the moment, and I'm racing to get to weekly episodes again before you reach episode 800, which I really need to get a move on if I want to get there. Oh boy, good luck. My question is, even though I might not hear the response for a while, with Kizaru and Luffy fighting, do you think we will see more of a personality change in Kizaru, where his slow/calm demeanor changes to a whoops, I clicked something. To a more aggressive stance if he gets overwhelmed by Luffy? See you months from now. Wish me luck."
I mean, it hasn't happened yet. Didn't happen this chapter.
It'd be funny if Kizaru snapped though, and like I don't know, starts I don't know, something like the mother from Hereditary just going, "You listen to me, you little shit." just finally snaps like, "Oh, there it is. Oh, Mr. No, he's not lazy justice. He's in between. What's his
Indifferent
thing again?
justice.
Indifferent justice.
Gray area.
Gray area justice, yeah.
Or like, I thought he was gonna like snap like Ned Flanders and Hurricane Nettie.
Dig dog crap.
It's gonna hit him with the
Kizaru did like, how do you do a Flanders?
He's a Ridley diddly doodly doo.
Doodly doodly doo. It's gonna hit him with the Y iota.
The only
Simpsons
case you got into was a case of Malamars.
Buggy's like, "Oh, Malamars, that's a good one."
Oh, the clown, the only one that doesn't make me laugh.
Okay, of the original admirals,
Buddy got a quarter.
Which Simpsons characters are they?
Oh man. I mean, Aokichi is Disco Stew.
Is who?
Disco Stew.
What?
Disco.
All right, sure.
We just had a cover with Aokiji, and he was Louis, the mobster.
That's a choice.
Sure is.
Any of them could be the very tall man.
That's the one that goes, nuts. That's
I think
that's
so.
Louis.
I think
It's Louis and legs.
Sakazuki is Leopold.
It was funny. I was thinking Leopold for.
That's a good one.
It would probably be that.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, not to distract too much. I just wonder who Johnny Tightlips is going to be.
Maybe Fujitora can be Hans Molman.
Let's say Mo.
No, but Mike, I predict this right now. By the time you get to Fujitora and Domance Dawn, he's going to be the blind guy with Santa's little helper.
Oh shit! It's definitely gonna be him. Yeah.
The guy with the big
Go
stash.
more blind, yeah. All right. Last comment on Reddit is from Prince of Assassins, who says, "Hey OPP, in a certain other Shonen Jump series that rhymes with Bubitsu Bison, a huge event happened that caused tremendous spoilers that breached Twitter and caused people to be spoiled in real life. One fan said she was spoiled by her grandmother, who thought a real person had passed away and chose to break the news to her and comfort her. What is the most wildest way you've been spoiled for a One Piece chapter?" I do want to say,
grandma.
yeah, speaking of grandma, so the other weekend when I was not on the podcast, I was hanging out with my family, and my dad told me very solemnly that he had read online that the voice of Mario had passed away. And, and I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Where are you getting your information, Dad?
I mean, he's passed away into a new role.
Yeah.
As Mario Ambassador.
I wonder if he
This
just
time-
read a headline that said like, R.I.P. voice of Mario or something, hi new voice of Mario or whatever. Anyways, what's
Well,
the
it turns
most
out
wildest
grandma's
way?
right, though.
Yeah, what is
Is that what, Chris Pratt died?
what is the wildest way you've been spoiled for a One Piece chapter?
I don't know how wild it is, but when I was catching up, I was fucking around looking at like Jump Force, and I saw that Sabo was alive, and I was like, oh, okay. Cool, man.
Nice.
Spoiled by a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been into the series so long, and yet I can't think of Somehow I've really ducked and dodged a lot of spoilers.
Yeah, I think like maybe like the wildest way maybe was like, I don't know, watching another like when I was trying to catch up, watching a later episode where Robin was in the crew and was like, what?
I mean,
Like,
y'all got spoiled by opening 3.
Yeah.
Well, by then, the thing is, I started going on the internet, and when Arlong Park was still a website, when it wasn't just a forum, I just like went through all the character bios, and I'm like, oh, I guess this lady.
Hey, guess who wrote those character bios?
Alex?
Yeah, it's me.
Oh, cool.
I have not. I don't think I've ever truly been spoiled in that way because I mean obviously I've been the weekly translator for what is it 12 13 years now. And so it's like impossible to spoil me in that way. And I think prior to that, when I did do weekly text translations, there was the spoilers culture was very different back then. You didn't have like text spoilers. Basically what would happen was like the raws would come out, so the chapter would just show up in picture form and people would be like, oh shit, look at all this stuff that happens. And so basically we were all seeing it at the same time, and I would work on it and put up the script in however many hours or whatever it took, and that was it. So there really wasn't this whole like, oh, suddenly everybody knows what happens in the chapter before they've even seen any pictures of it. That was not a thing back then. That's a more recent development.
I think maybe I was spoiled by Ace dying because of the T-shirt. Stop living before you stop dying, or start living before you start dying. I think that was
in tropical pink.
Yeah. Well, no, I had the shirt in gray. Yeah.
Jill had the pink bag.
Yeah.
Still does.
No, I'm trying because I remember that shirt came out like the week before, like the chapter actually did, like when he actually dies. It was
but
like,
did it have the picture of him, or was it just a generic illustration?
It's like a picture of him, like he's like the back of him, and he's doing like this.
Yeah, like he's doing the Judd Nelson from Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
But,
okay. I mean, you could argue that that's just like a coincidence. Like they just thought, let's come up with a cool line for Ace.
I mean, it could be. I thought it was the funniest fucking thing.
Yeah, the timing is incredible.
The timing couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
Not me personally, but my girlfriend's been reading it, and she's like very pro spoiler, just because it'll make her like want to read more, which is something that I just can't wrap my head around. But I've been able to like keep a couple things like from her that I've been happy I've been able to. So she likes Ace a lot, and I've been able to keep what happens to him from her. So I'm hoping that I can keep it up until she gets to it. So we'll see.
Well, that is it for the subreddit.
All right. There actually wasn't any feedback on Twitter this week, so next week we'll put
the times they are becoming quite different.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, we'll make sure to put a tweet out about it next week. But
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, that does help. But for now, let's just round off the show.
Made me realize that because it's called X now, like you could change the segment to like the X symbol or some shit.
A shoe man.
A shoe man.
X the Twex.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 788 for the week of Monday, September 25th, 2023. And on this episode, we had a manga recap for chapter 1093, Luffy vs. Kizaru, our triple anime recap of episodes 1075 through 1077, and also some piece together, taking your feedback and giving you some smart chatter, I guess. But yeah, I want to thank everyone who came on this week. First of all, Mike, thank you for coming on. Is there anything you'd like to promote?
Yeah, sure. I'm probably deleting Twitter soon, so you don't have to follow me there. But I post a lot of art on Instagram, and my handle is Patten, Patten _pending. I've posted all the Domance art that I've done on there, which is a podcast that you can check out called Domance Dawn, that I do the cover art for. Aside from that, I am a storyboard artist in animation, and most recently, you could check out Strange Planet on Apple TV. I did boards on that. And then the Exploding Kittens Netflix show that's coming out sometime this fall. So that's where you can find stuff I've done. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, thanks for coming on, Mike. Look forward to you coming on again.
Yeah,
And-
I love talking to y'all.
And Steven, is there anything you want to promote, or where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Blue Sky if you're there. I am there at stephenpaul.bsky.social or whatever the default thing is. I'm sure if you just search my name, it'll pop up. I got it this time. So, yeah, you can find me there and see all the pictures of my cat and stuff that I no longer post to Twitter. And check out, as usual, One Piece, Akane Banashi, Shoten. They are all on the Viz app or Manga Plus, wherever you read all your Shonen Jump stuff. So check them out.
Right on. Alex, where can the good people find you?
You can also find me on Blue Sky, dude exclamation dot whatever the fuck. That's also what my Twitter handle is, but I actually do post more on Twitter than I do Blue Sky right now. We'll see. This place is fucking burning. You can still find Weeb Simpsons on Twitter. I may move it to Blue Sky, but I'm also trying to think of the best way to keep shit going. I might do a blog or make a website just so people can go to it. I don't know. We'll see what happens there.
You
But
sound
anyway,
so down.
oh, I don't care. Weeb Simpsons is up still. Go follow it. Enjoy backlog. Also, check out Super Art Fight. We have a show in Baltimore on the 7th of October. I will not be on that show, but go to it anyway if you're in the area. It's going to be great.
All right, Steve, anything you want to promote?
Yeah, you could always go to my website, steveyurko.com. I am on Blue Sky. I'm still on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I haven't streamed on Twitch in a while, but just life has been crazy. But you could find me at all those at Steve Yurko. You could check me out on the Let's Play channel, ProZD Plays Games, over on YouTube. And yeah, check me out. Check out the OPLA podcast, OPLA, talking about the live action. That's on our feed as well. That's it.
All right. And the podcast, or I can be found on Blue Sky as well. I'm Edward E. on there. The podcast can be found at the new and improved OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, and YouTube.com/OnePiecePodcast, Instagram.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. You can send us some feedback there. And let's see, you can subscribe on SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Please subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or call us on our phone number. That phone number is 347-497-MAJI.
Moji.
347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Any Tim.
All right. Yeah, that's it for the One Piece podcast this week, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. And for the One Piece podcast, my name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
And my name is Alex.
And we'll see you next week, everybody. Goodbye.
So long.
Farewell.
Bonnie Rubble.
Bonnie.
Bonnie.
Oh, Bonnie.